Welcome guys to lesson 3 of 10.06. Again, if you can practice the skills that we've been working through for the last few lessons for your retrieval task. Can you spend 10 minutes on this task now please? Pause the video and give it a go. So now here are your answers. Make sure you're using your green pen to copy these down and correct any that you need to. Are you seeing any improvement in certain areas where you're weaker at probability before, but now you're starting to understand further? So now here is our LO to understand how to multiply algebraic fractions. And algebraic fractions is going to be our title for the lesson. So our success criteria says that first of all we need to factor. That's going to simplify the process. Then we need to reduce. Then we need to finally multiply. And remember that only factors can be divided. We also, in the bottom over here, don't know if you can see it, in the bottom over here, let me get my highlighter, we have how we multiply fractions. So when we multiply fractions, the numerators are times together and the denominators are times together. So we could move straight in and times 11 by all this and 15 by all this, but we want to make our life as easy as possible. So let's have a look. So here are our two algebraic fractions that we're multiplying together. So our first one, we know that we can take out a factor of 4. So let's take out 4, then we're left with, if we take 4 out of this, we're left with 3x squared. If we take 4 out of this, we're left with 2. So we've got that there. 11 can't be factorised any further. Neither can, well, there's no need. We can't factorise 11 any further because it's prime. 15, there's no need just yet to factorise that. So let's have a look at this term. We can take 7 out of this. So if we take 7 out of this here, we're left with 2. And if we take out a factor of 7 from this, we're left with 3x squared. So now we notice that our 3x squared plus 2 here and our 3x squared plus 2 here are both the same, even though they are wrote in different orders. So we can cancel both of those and we're left with 4 over 15 times by 11 over 7. So now we just do what the picture states. Times the numerators together to get 44, times the denominators together to get 105. Now you would simplify that further if you could. So if you can copy that down for me, then pause the video and spend a minute working through the we do. Okay, so if you can get your green pens out, make sure you're marking if you've got it correct. I've put another one of the steps here for you to be able to see. And as you can see, what they've done is they've just times straight through. So 1 times by this, to the top, 15 times by this, that's what they've wrote. And it simplifies to 4 over 105. Let's have a look at another example. So again, let's factorise. So if we factorise this top here, we know we can take out a factor of 4. We end up with 3x squared plus 2. Over here again, we can take out a factor of 7. And it leaves us with 2 plus 3x squared, as we've got here. Our factor here on the top of 3x squared plus 2, yep, that can cancel out because if we're timesing by this and then dividing, because it's in our denominator, then they're going to cancel 1 over out. So we end up with 4 times by 10 on the top and 15 times by 7 on the bottom. So we get 40 over 105. You can now pause the video once you've got that down and take 2 minutes to give the we do a go. So here's the answer for the we do, 16 over 21 in its simplest form. Make sure you're correcting these if you got your we do wrong. Think about why you got it wrong. What do you think was your issue? Let's try and change it in the next example. So here we go. So again, we need to first look to factorise. So we know that we can take out 4 from here. Can look at that instantly and see that. So if we take out 4, we end up with 3x squared plus 2 again. We then look to this bottom one here and we know that we can take out 7 from here, so we end up with 2 plus 3x squared. Now here is where something interesting happens again. So we know that these two factors here cancel one another out, but we remember that if we are dividing terms that have the same term, so both are y, so if we do y to the power of 3 divided by y to the power of 7, that's the same as taking away the powers. The way that we figure that out is we take away the powers. So this y to the 3 takes off our y to the 7, and it makes it y to the power of 4. So we end up with 3 minus 7, we end up with minus 4. And the minus obviously accounts for the fact that it's on the bottom of our fraction. So we can now move further. So now we know on the top we've got 4 times by 20, which we get 80. And on the bottom we have 15y to the 4 times by 7, which gives us 105 y to the power of 4. Now we can cancel this, and we can divide through by 5, and we get 16 on the top and 21 on the bottom. Now, as I said earlier, what we can do is we can also write this as 16 over 21, so that's our fraction here, times by y to the negative 4. Because negative in our power just means the reciprocal, just means it would go on the bottom of the fraction. So if you can pause the video now and give the we do a go for 2 minutes. And here is your answer. 16 over 21y cubed. Or you could write it as 16 over 21 times by y to the power of minus 3. Make sure you copy that down. Let's have another look at another example here. So we factorize first. On the top I can see that I can take out 4. Here I can see that I can take out 5. Here I can take out 4 again. And here I can take out 7. So we factorize all these terms and then have a look. So x plus 2 on the top can cancel out with 2 plus x over here. So we've cancelled out one thing on the top and one thing on the bottom. We can also cancel out 3 minus y and 3 minus y. That's why I've crossed these two here with a big x and this one here with just 2 diagonals, because they match. So then that leaves us with 4 times by 4 on the top and 5 times by 7 on the bottom. So we get 16 over 35. Again, can you pause the video and spend 2 minutes trying to solve the we do? And there is your answer for the we do. So we end up with 48 over 35. Make sure you're copying that down. Make sure you're marking it correct if you've got it correct. Well done. Okay, so it's starting to get a little bit meatier. So now on the top, we have an x squared term, an x term, and a constant. So the first thing I would do is I would tackle. Let me get my laser pointer back, like that. First thing I'd do is I'd tackle factorising that, because we did that in lesson 2. We did that last lesson. So let's look at factorising that first. So that's what I've done here. Factorise this first. So we can take out 4 from all of them. So we end up with x squared plus 4x plus 4. We can see that that factorises to x plus 2 and x plus 2. Because if we look x squared, yep, plus 2x, yep, plus 2x, yep, plus 4. Okay, so that works. Plug it back in, so we get 4x plus 2 squared over 15 minus 5 over x. Now all I've done here is I've just plugged it straight back into here. Then we're timesing by this. So let's factorise. So we can take out, this is already factorised, we can take out 5x here, and that'd leave us with 3 minus y, because 5x times by minus y gives us minus 5xy. Over here I can factor out 8, so I get 8 brackets 2 plus x. Yep, that works. And then we can take out 10x here, so it would leave us with 3 minus, and we took out 10x, leaves us with negative y. So now we can have a look. So if our 3 minus y is going to cancel with that, 3 minus y. This x plus 2 in our denominator is going to cancel with just one of these x plus 2s, so you get rid of the square term, because if you remember, we have 2 of those x plus 2s. So we end up with 4 x plus 2 on the top, times by 10x. Now, you'll see my little bit of trickery here, because I spotted a mistake. Well done if you spotted it before me. So, we ended up with 4x plus 2 times by 10x. So our 4 times by 10 will give us the 40x. And then we still have our x plus 2. Now on the bottom we have 5x times by 8. So the 5 times by the 8 gives us 40. Then we times by the x gives us 40x. So now I can notice that this here cancel with this here. And it leaves us with just x plus 2. So if you can copy that down, and then pause the video and spend 2 minutes trying to solve the we do. And there is the answer for the we do. Make sure you mark it if you've got it correct. Make sure you're keeping an eye on if you're making mistakes, where they're appearing. Is there a pattern? Now I would like you to... So now here we have some problems that I'd like you to work through. For the first 5 minutes, can you work through these? Use your book and the problems that we've just done to model how you do these problems independently. Remember to factorize, then to cancel, then to multiply your numerators and multiply your denominators. Then continue to look for simplification. Here is the next set as well, if you're struggling to see them on the first page. And here are the solutions. So as we can see, we've got A here, 12 over 25. B moves down to here, 12 over 35. Then C moves across. Don't know what's behind the blue box. It's a mystery. Then it moves over here, 2 over 7 x squared. So if you can mark those for me, make sure you're ticking them with green pen if you've got them correct. Is it a case of you're just missing out a certain step of the simplification and you've not finished just before you've got it in its simplest form? And there are the final 4. Make sure you're marking these in green pen, remember. And well done. You've now finished. That was lesson 3. Now's a chance for you to think about where you did well, where you could improve, and a chance for your teacher to dish out any top student awards or any academic points. Well done. Have a good